Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Williams from Martin Bluff Elementary. I teach fourth grade, and today I'm going to be reviewing with you similes and metaphors. Let's start with similes. A simile compares two unlike things using the words like or as. The important part here is to know that similes compare two things to each other. They use the words like or as. Let's look at some examples. For example, this laptop is as light as a feather. Okay, so we know a feather is very light. If you have a feather in your hand, you almost can't even tell that it's there. That's how light it is. So they are comparing this laptop to a feather. They're saying that this laptop is very light, like a feather or as a feather. Another example, his smile is like a ray of sunshine. We see the word like in here, but just because it says the word like doesn't mean it's a simile. It's important to know that a simile compares two things. So let's see what's being compared in this example. In this example, the comparison is his smile to a ray of sunshine. A ray of sunshine is very bright and cheery and happy, and it makes you feel good. Well, they are saying that his smile is like that. It is very bright and cheery and happy too. So they are comparing his smile to a ray of sunshine. Now let's look at metaphors. A metaphor compares two unlike things by saying that one thing is the other. All right? Once again, it compares two things. So let's see some examples. Example 1. The car was a large boulder. This sentence is comparing two unlike things. What are we comparing? We are saying that the car is a boulder. A large boulder is a big rock. It's a huge rock, okay? It says that the car was a large boulder. Now, is the car a big rock? No, but a boulder is large and heavy. So they are comparing the car to a boulder to show that the car is also large and heavy. Another example, the classroom was a zoo. The two things that we are comparing in here that are unlike, they're not the same thing, is a classroom and a zoo. Now we know a zoo has a bunch of animals. It can be loud sometimes, and animals might be running around, maybe in their cages, but they're still very active. We know that a classroom does not have many animals in it like a zoo, but if we are saying the classroom was a zoo, that means maybe it is a little loud. It can get a little crazy. Maybe some of the children or students are acting like animals. And that's why they're comparing it to a zoo. Notice in these two examples, we do not see the word like or as. We are saying that one thing is the other thing to compare them and show how they are alike. Okay, let's do some examples together. Which of these sentences is an example of a simile? Remember, a simile uses like or as. I'm going to read all of the answer choices, then I'm going to talk about them. A, his fingers smelled like chocolate and candy. B, our car was a growling lion when my dad started it. C, she was like a bird sitting at the top of a tree. Okay? Now I see two sentences that use the word like. Let's see which sentence is actually comparing two things. A, his fingers smelled like chocolate and candy. Well, you might think that fingers is being compared to chocolate and candy, but it's actually just telling us that it smells like it, not that it is that thing. Okay, let's look at C. She was like a bird sitting at the top of a tree. Okay, so is she really sitting at the top of a tree? Probably not, but it is saying that she is sitting like a bird sitting at the top of a tree. It is comparing the girl to a bird that is sitting at the top of the tree. So the answer is C. Remember, just because it has the word like or as does not mean that it's a simile. It has to be comparing two things. Next, choose a sentence that includes a metaphor. Remember, a metaphor compares two unlike things by saying that one thing is the other thing, okay? A, ocean waves crash like cymbals against the shore. You see the word like, so I know that's possibly a simile, but it's not a metaphor. B, the runners were gazelles racing across the plains. Okay, we are comparing runners to gazelles. The runners aren't gazelles, they're human beings, but we are saying that they were or are gazelles because of how fast or gently or gracefully they are running. So that is a possibility. C, Nora is a cheerleader for the school football team. C is not comparing two things. C is just telling us a fact about Nora. So the answer is B. We are comparing the runners to gazelles, and we are saying that the runners are gazelles, not like or as. Number 3, read the following sentence. The saxophone was like a bird singing in the night. This sentence uses a simile to show. Well, let's find the simile. The saxophone was like a bird. Okay, I know it's a simile because it's comparing two things. Saxophone to a bird singing in the night. And I know it's a simile because it's using the word like. Okay, let's see what the sentence is using the simile to show. A, that the saxophone sounded like a bird. B, that the saxophone and a bird were singing. Or C, that the saxophone was actually a bird. Well, I know that's not true. And since I'm comparing the saxophone to a bird and the bird is singing, that means the saxophone sounds like a bird singing. So the answer is A. All right, let's do one more. I'm going to read this poem to you, and then we are going to choose which line in this poem is a metaphor. So as I read to you, think about and listen for a line that is comparing two things and saying that one thing is another. Darkness surrounds me. It's a canvas painted black. In a tent beneath a tree, resting my head on a backpack. To locate breakfast must be tomorrow's chore. As, once I lay down for a rest, I soon begin to snore. Among the rustling leaves, the night creatures growl. What dreams I will weave as the lonesome wolf howls. Okay, let's read our answer choices and see which one is comparing two things by saying that one thing is another. And begin to snore. Okay, is this comparing two things? Remember, when we're comparing two things, a thing is a noun. All right. In A, we only have one noun and it is I. So it is not a comparison. B, as the lonesome wolf howls. Are we comparing two things? No, we only have one thing or one noun in this line, and that's the wolf. C, it's a canvas painted black. Now, look at that first word, it's. That is a contraction. We put together the words it is to make the contraction it's. So what are we comparing in this line? We are comparing it to a canvas. Now, if you go back up to the poem, it's a canvas painted black. It is talking about the darkness. It is saying that the darkness is a canvas painted black. A canvas is something that you can paint or draw or use to make a craft or art. All right. So if it's a canvas painted black, that shows you how dark the darkness is. So it is comparing its or it, which is the darkness, to a canvas. So the answer is C.